underway here in Canberra. It'll be the Dolphins who get first use of it. Catch made by Jermaine Asako. And they bring it forward through Francis Molo, the former Dragon. Cody Nikorima here can be placed on report.
Cody Nikorima on report.
And be sent to the sin bin. This harks back to what happened last night. A sin binning sometime after the incident. Let's watch this again. And it was for that action there. And Tamale on the initial kick return. Only a metre short. It comes back now to Fogarty again. He'll chip it out wide. Tamale is there. Tries to make the catch and spin in. Chris gives it back to Tamale, who reaches down. And they stayed on the cliff edge without tripping over it and scored points. A couple of metres on the line. Stone comes back to Katoa. Tabuai-Fidow. He takes them on himself. He'll plant it down from Starling. Again, 3 plays gone. Some room on this left-hand side. Katoa finds Nikorima. Holds it up. Farnworth through a hole. And things just keep happening for the Dolphins around Isaiah Katoa and Cody Nikorima. He'll play it here for O'Sullivan. Nikorima skips to the outside. Chance there on this left edge for Lemuelu. Taken down. Last play. Short ball there. Saifiti hangs on to it.
The ball pops up and over Tom Starling's hand back into the possession of Daniel Saifiti for playing on. He then grounds the ball. We have a decision.
Deep on this right-hand side. Fogarty, first man option is Mariota, who pops it up. Weeks reels it in, plants it down. Chance on the right-hand side. Goes to Tabuai-Fidow. Avarillo puts a kick in, and then Asako coming through. Josh Kerr again. Tom Starling on the ground there. He might be a bit dusty. The Canberra hooker. Asako puts a kick in. Plenty of chasers, including Nikorima. Puts it on the toe again. Katoa is there, but so is Avarillo. What a try by the Dolphins. 3 plays gone in front of the uprights. Back to Fogarty, who takes them on himself. He had support in Hosking. He'd overrun it. Fogarty did well not to pass it. Here is Hosking now. He gets there. A second effort. He crashes through, looking for a quick one. Tamale comes across here to Tarpany. He runs towards the uprights. Stands, delivers. Strange is in. And here comes the green machine. Almost back at the halfway line. Comes to Tarpany now. Tips it on to Fogarty. Look at the rhythm they've got suddenly. Tim McCaw straightens. He's away. He's got Nicholson there with him. Nicholson will run away. Canberra, 3 tries in a row. And Ricky is dancing here in the Nations.
Be hard to pull up now.
What a stunning mood swing in this game. Tim McCaw off that right foot, able to beat both Farnworth and also Nikorima. Picked the gap beautifully between them, and then Nicholson was always there in support. And it was a draw and pass for Matt Timmercore, and Nicholson runs away for his 5th try in the NRL in this just his 7th game. Desperate to lock up Christeden. Now Paddy out of dummy half. Last play, got the pass away in time. Fogarty, rubbers. Chris was blocked. Forced there by Asako coming in to force the ball in the end goal. An important call here. The referee, though, says try for the moment. Body came down on top of the ball. Right there, his legs are in the end goal, but the ball was still in the field of play, and Chris pounces, and Canberra have the lead. Smithies back through the middle. They bypass him. Fogarty shows it. Fogarty! He scores the winner. What a comeback by the Raiders. They are all smiles. They've taken down the Dolphins at full time, 40 points to 28.
I believe the word effort got a fair mention at half-time, and the way the team responded in the second 40 must delight the coach.
You got a fair mention before the game too, mate. So, it was disappointing that first 40.
To come back and win like that, Rick, after the ANZAC ceremony. I heard you speak during the week about how disappointed you've been at a past occasion where you lost on an ANZAC ceremony. What did it mean to come back and score 30-0 in the second half and win on your ANZAC Day celebration?
Well, the bloke standing to my left, when we were out there, his name's Brett Dixon. And, you know, we were embarrassed last year because we did it for one of our mates. And we privately spoke without him knowing that this was about him. You know, he's ex-military, he's served, and he's one of our great staff members. And he'd hate me saying it, but you know, it's my last message at half time was, now go and show me what you got then. What's really underneath the jumper? Because in the first half it was really embarrassing. But that doesn't take any credit away from the brilliance that the Dolphins played with, who were undermanned. You know, Christian had a heap of good players out today, but they ran over us roughshod in the first half.
Joe, as captain, can you put your finger on what switched at half-time, what worked so well for you to have a 30-0 second 40 minutes?
Nice little spray from coach. He tested our character and put a challenge to us. I'm really, I'm enjoying my time with these young fellas, not just because, people say they're young and inexperienced, but I think the way we build them around our culture, they soak everything up, and they're all winners, and that's what we're trying to mould them into.
Joe, how pleasing is it just to get a massive comeback win like that? That is something which is, a lot of fans maybe haven't seen much of in recent years.
Yeah, it's huge. We based, especially this year, we wanted to be strong at home. We're getting good crowds, and I think they're just going to get bigger. The way we're performing and the way we're turning up every week, and the way they turn up. They got behind us, and we drove that home.
Is it really just effort, or what do you put it down to? Just everything went your way in the second half? Yeah, effort. It's most of the game. Effort and mentality, I always say. Mindset's a huge part in our game. Everyone thinks it's physical, but when it gets tough, it's your mind that gets you through those tough times, and we've got a really strong group. On the other side of it, how do you explain the start that the Dolphins got up to? Yeah, we just didn't play. I think we just didn't. We played a bit out of our character. We didn't play how we play footy. We were probably shifting the ball too much and not doing the tough stuff. And that's what Stick touched on at halftime. You want to play in dinner suits and not be tough, and that's how we play, and that's how we win as a club. Ricky, you mentioned the ANZAC connection there. Does it take on an extra level of importance to being the capital and obviously the war memorials in the city and everything like that?
They did a wonderful ceremony yesterday. We were laying the roof, and the full sporting teams that were there with a lot of the people, the dignitaries, and a lot of people in the public. It was a really, really nice ceremony, and it was special. It was the Brumbies were there, and the Hurricanes, and I really liked the Bulldogs coach, Luke Beveridge. He's a really good fella. I've been down to see him before, and it was nice to be able to catch up with him. And I think it's special to see how the players buy into it. I think it's a very important day in our history, ANZAC Day. It's got to be celebrated with probably the way they played in the last 40 minutes. It's easy to go to the ceremonies, but you've got to back it up when the difficult times come. So it was nice to show that we had 40 minutes of football in us.
Coming into this game 5-2, Joe, after a hectic travel schedule for your first 7 rounds, you and the boys must have been hanging for a long week at home. So how was the preparation, looking into this clash against the Dolphins?
Yeah, it was good. It's good to be home. Finally got to take the wife out to dinner and do stuff like that. But our training's gone to another level this year. I think that's why we're playing how we're playing. Everyone's pushing it, young fellas and old. So it's a credit to the coaches and they're getting us over that line. So we'll just fix that start of the game or the first half, and we'll get back on it.
That sort of left-hand side defence got really targeted by the Dolphins in that first half. Is that something that you look to improve on before heading into next week?
It starts, everyone knows it starts in the middle as well. So we can either win that right in the middle, so you can't really blame edges. We have to look at the video properly and see if we could have done anything better as well.
And Ricky, the draw doesn't get much easier for you guys heading up to face a Storm in Badgertown. Now sitting 6-2, you must be pretty confident. So what do you think you guys need to work on before taking on a Storm in, Badgertown this season?
Oh, no, I'll look at that this week. It's there's not a game in this competition that's easy, and that showed you today. Dolphins showed that last week against the Storm. You go out and you're 10% off, you're going to get what we got in the first 40 minutes today.
Ricky, just one more. We're in a bit of a denounceable situation here at the moment. I know you've got some strong feelings about the stadium. What do you think?
It's not going to happen, so...
You resign to that?
Yeah, I am. And also, I come out and say what I think is best for Canberra. It'll be an ugly headline. Ricky's blowing up, or Ricky's filthy again, like everything. I gave a referee a rap 2 weeks ago, and the headline said that was Ricky was blowing up. So I can't win with headlines, so I'm better off not saying a word now.
Well, Christian, there are a few excuses not to win that game, but the way you led at half-time and to finish behind must be bitterly disappointing.
Yeah, look, obviously the second half was really disappointing. And, we put ourselves in a great position there. We played some great footy in the the first half. For whatever reason, we just didn't quite put that together in the second half. And you're right what you said there. There's plenty of reasons for it. There's plenty of effort. There were some guys who played really big minutes, and you can see that absolutely busted their guts to try and do everything they could for us. At the end of the day, I think we just made too many errors coming out of our own end. We didn't quite get our fifth play right in that second half, and that put us under pressure and gave them too much opportunity.
You led well in the back, partly of Daniel Saifidi. How big a loss was he in the shadows of half-time?
He's a big loss. He's our best front rower. He's been one of our best players over all the early rounds, if not our best. And you can see what sort of impact he was having in that first half. So not having him come back out, it's not just the impact he brings leadership in the middle. He can play big minutes for us. We'll lose a lot when he's not able to come back out.
Tom, why aren't you able to stem the bleeding there in the second half? How hard is it to stop the green machine once they get rolling like that?
Yeah, it's obviously probably a mindset thing, if I'm being honest. I felt like they came out to play footy and they wanted to win a footy game, and we probably just wanted to survive and protect the lead. And just in those little moments, like Wolfie touched on, coming out of our end or the fifth place, we get a few of them right, or we get out of our own end. I think it's a different scoreline, but then at the end of the day, we didn't get that done, and it's a good learning curve for our group and our spine and everyone involved in today's performance.
And Christian, is there any idea on how significant Daniel's shoulder is?
Look, I'm not sure. They think it might have just sort of come out a little bit, and obviously it's gone back in, and he's in a fair bit of pain there. So the doctor and the physio thought that he wasn't quite right to go back out, but I'm not sure in terms of time frames or severity what that looks like.
Christian, you guys haven't left the Sunshine State since round 2, and winning your last 3. How did you sort of prepare to come to the cooler conditions of the nation's capital this week?
Look, the conditions are pretty nice, so that wasn't a real issue for us. We obviously come here at a pretty good time of the year to be coming to Canberra. It could certainly be a lot colder. We didn't change anything in our preparation. I don't think that was an issue for us. If you look at the way we started, look at the way we played the first half, I think our preparation was good.
Yeah, well, your left-hand side attack did prove to be a major part of your sort of successes in that first half. Was that sort of an area that you guys identified to, strike at or going against Raiders?
Look, we obviously had some things that we thought we could attack at. It wasn't necessarily the left edge. It was just in the system that the Raiders use, and that worked well for us in the first half. We didn't give ourselves much opportunity for that in the second half.
And also losing Jeremy Marshall-King for this week was the big one for you guys, considering how crucial that dummy half role is. How did you guys sort of view the performance of both Ray and Sean?
I thought Ray overall was outstanding. I couldn't ask for anything more from him. He did the best he could as a hooker. He's not a hooker, he's a back rower. He did the best he could there and did a decent job to start. And he stayed out there for, I think, 70-odd minutes straight and tackled everything that he possibly could. So I couldn't be proud of his performance. And I thought Sean tried really hard as well. Sean's a halfback doing his best out there, and that's the situation we're in. And those two guys certainly weren't the reason that we lost today.
And Tom, during a big round of sin bins, firstly, how are you guys as the players sort of adjusting to that stop-start nature of the game, waiting for the bunker to, bring in their call a bit later on? And secondly, are you guys starting to practice with the 12-man squad at training, or?
Yeah, it's definitely becoming more common. Obviously, it happens in the early rounds of the year where new rules bring sin bins and stuff, and I think at the end of the day, you got to get on with it. At the end of the day, we had 12 in the bin, and I thought we did a really good job in responding to that, and we probably won that period. It's probably just part of the game moving forward, and there's not much we can do about it. That's the way the game's going, and if we want to use that as an excuse, then you probably won't be winning many more games.
There was obviously a lot of history with these two teams having very close encounters in their previous meetings. Was that something that you came in knowing that this was going to be potentially, you can't really write off the Raiders?
No, definitely not. The Raiders are a top 4 side for a reason, and they've been playing a lot of great footy, a lot of great individuals in their team. So we were up for it. Look, we came here to play. We obviously, dished that out for the first half, and I'm really proud that we got our footy on. But at the same time, there's a big taste of disappointment left in our team at the moment because we were ready. We got a really good prep in, and we knew they were going to be a tough team. But like I said, they came out thriving, and we went into a bit of survival.
What was the halftime message, and what sort of led to those errors capitulating and everything like it did?
No, the halftime chat was really positive. We talked about, I guess, being happy to kick long, get them in cycles and put them in corners, and we didn't get that on, and probably why it affected us. I think it comes down to all of us had a little moment out there that contributed to half line break or not completing a set, and as individuals we just got to reflect on that, put our hands up and own it, and not look to blame each other, stick together, and as a group, find ways to overcome those mistakes and get on more and about for next week.
Christian, Friday night, will Kurt, Jeremy or Max be right?
Look, we're hopeful on all three. I'll obviously know a little bit more once we get back and early in the week, but we made what I thought was the right decision with Jeremy. We didn't try and push him for this week. He's been in hospital and has a fairly significant cut, so I'm certainly hopeful that he'll be right. Max was a little bit the same. We thought he was going to be okay to play. Pulled up sore on Thursday, and we made the decision that we didn't want to push that along and put pressure on him so that he felt like he needed to get through something to play and take risk, I suppose. Kurt unfortunately got injured at training the other day, so that happened in our captain's run, so I'm not quite sure how that one's gone over the last 48 hours.